And we're back. Another Askari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake off the Ancient Illumination and Yambani Chronicles series, and I'm joined by George Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
He is a graphic artist, a creator in his own right. He has Eve of Insurrection, Eve of Reclamation, Growing in the Garden, and he's also the illustrator for the Ancient Illumination graphic novels as well as the Yambani Chronicles comic books. Very talented artist. Once again, if you're interested in any of our creative endeavors, when we put this episode up on Spotify, there will be links to both my author website and his website as well, if you want to check out our wares. And we are back talking some more Andor, Season 2, episodes 4 through 6. It is Monday, May the 5th, Revenge of the 5th,
Oh,
and
goodness.
Cinco de Mayo for Mexican brothers and sisters out there. But for us Star Wars heads, it's Revenge of the 5th.
And May the 4th. We have May the 4th yesterday.
May the 4th. Yeah,
May
I had
the
my
4th.
shirt on yesterday.
Okay.
And tomorrow, Tuesday, they will be dropping another 3 episodes. So we'll get 7, 8, and 9 coming up tomorrow. So
and Tales of the Underworld.
That's already out.
Yeah, I know. It's out. I forgot that came out on yesterday. Like, oh, crap, this song, we're going to get into that later.
Yeah, I might have to peep that out as well. So as usual, I'm going to go through my breakdown of what happened in the 3 episodes, and then Jordan and I are going to just discuss it. Anybody that wants to come in and comment, please do. And we will read your chats or have them up on screen. But let's get it. Let's see. Episode 4, have you ever been to Gorman? I think is the episode, something like that. Ever been to Gorman is the title. We start that with Andor and Bix, and Bix is having another flashback. We learn that they're in an apartment, a safe house that Luthen has set up for them on Coruscant, and she is dreaming of her torturer, running into her torturer while at the safe house. And they're having this discussion when she comes around the corner. Do you think she actually sees somebody? Because it looks like she wakes up and then walks around the corner, grabs a blaster, and it's not until Andor comes and grabs the blaster from her that she's had another dream. Basically, she's sleepwalking.
That's rough.
Light the hallway up. But in her vision, I don't know if you've noticed that there's somebody that Dr. Gorst is talking about that was killed. I think it's an Imperial ATST pilot, because you see his helmet's laying there on the floor.
Oh.
It's kind of a recurring thing that Bix and Andor, she, I think, feels guilty. Part of her PTSD too is they killed this Imperial that saw her face, and she doesn't feel that that's justified reason for killing. Because she even confronts Andor about, like, you didn't kill him just because he was Imperial. You killed him because he saw my face. Yeah. So she feels guilty. And then we flash to Gorman, this planet with the spiders. And we see Cyril. Basically, to me, he's working as an Imperial plant here. It's quite obvious. I feel kind of bad for him, but I don't, because I think he's going to end up being the patsy.
Okay, why do you feel bad for him, though?
Because I think when things go bad, the meeting that you see later on between Patagast and Dedra, he tells her, like, Cyril cannot know.
He's gonna be thrown out there first.
So he thinks he's in on everything, but he's really not in on everything. So I think for those reasons, he's going to end up taking a fall later on. He's an Imperial plant on Gorman. This seems to be like a Star Wars version of, like, World War II France, in a sense.
I was like, what language are they speaking? I wanted to know so bad. I was like, is this French? Like, what is this language?
They came up with their own language.
Did they call their own language?
Things. Yeah,
I was like, is it German? Is it French? I'm like, it's all thrown together. I was like, what language are they speaking?
Yeah, it's something that they came up. It came up with the verbal language, and there's a separate written language as well. That's pieces that they created for the show. So that's pretty cool. He gets a call from Moms. We see him in his office, and they're doing FaceTime basically, and we hear the propaganda machine is working because she has certain opinions about the Gorman that she's obviously getting from these holovids and TV shows or whatever's going on Coruscant. Because he even says something. You've been watching Imperial TV too much. Is basically what he tries to tell her. And we know that they're being listened to because we see the Gorman front people below ground with headsets on, listening to the conversation. And I have a question like, is this all on purpose? We know that Miro, Pendergast, and Krennic are pulling the string. So is this whole thing, like even the mom, like how, I'm wondering if the mom's even in on it. Like, because they're making it sound good for these people to listen to. And she does sound like a crazy, not like a misinformed political person on the phone with her son talking about the Gorman. She ain't been to Gorman. She's not trying to go to Gorman. They ain't getting no more money from me. It's because he's like, I take it you're not going to visit, when they had that conversation.
Monica said mom is a trip. Yeah, she is.
She is, yeah. So, yeah, and then we go back to Andor and Bix on Coruscant shopping. And we get to see here how paranoid Andor is. My boy is like, let me see the bag.
Yeah, it's like, bro, chill out. Switch sides of the bag. Like, bro, let me hold, like, relax, man.
Yeah, let me see the bag. And she's like, what are you doing? I didn't think we were going to this place. We're going to the other spot. She's like, no, this is the good one. Like, this is the good store. We're going to the good store. We're not going to the broke store. We're going to the good one. They got the good stuff that we can get. Let's, you need to chill out. We need to shop. The mission is dinner. Like, trying to change his mindset. And Cyril, we flash back to Gorman. He walks across the town square and he sees the protests beginning. They're, got their flags and stuff and megaphones. Hell no, we won't go. They're out there protesting. And he's walking by that. And as he goes into the building, I thought we saw a flash of the security team watching pod racing on that little monitor.
Yes, we did. And yes, I saw it. I was like, well, we got pod racers. I peeped that. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was dope. Then we lock into this ISB meeting where they're basically counting how many people they've arrested, how many Imperial weapons they've confiscated, but they can't get any more information out of all that. So I noticed how kind of lax Dedra is here. Like she has nothing to report really. She's just like chilling. She's sitting back, like a tennis match. She's just looking back and forth while while Pendergast is just grilling everybody else. Like, where's the results? What are we doing? And Lonnie, the redhead, which we know is the rebel mole, it's like, yo, we're doing too much. We've got some people we've arrested. We can't even keep track of all the things that we're doing right now. That's why we ain't got no results. We can't process any of this. What we gonna do? So the other officer who is now at the Axis desk, who's supposed to be chasing Andor, where Dedra used to be, basically thanks him. And I wrote a note here. I'm thinking maybe Lonnie is stacking up favors with Imperial officers in case his cover gets blown or he has something he's going to be able to use as leverage against any of them in the grand scheme of things. Because he's swinging in the wind right now still, I think. Because I think in season 1, remember, he asked Luthen to basically pull him out and was like, nah, homie, you an asset.
You gotta stay in the field. Just let me out now, buddy.
Yeah, I've given up everything. So you got to give up everything too. And then we go after that little meeting because she's not happy about anything. I guess they're talking about Dedra is not happy because she wants to be let in on. That's her. That's my turf. I built the groundwork for that case, and you don't want to call me in. You don't think I'd be valuable to your little investigation. He's like, no, this is my work now, homie. You can go ahead and kick back.
Oh, the Imperials. Oh, the Empire.
Yeah. And then we see basically a little montage of Mon Mothma going around to various Senate members trying to garner votes for whatever she's got going on politically. Trying to do things the right way.
Yeah, it was giving that vibes. It was giving that vibes of finding. I was like, when I was rewatching, I was like, she feels like she's building allies because we already know what she's a part of, and she's gonna need those. She's gonna need those people in her pocket, those planets, different governments and bodies in her pocket for sure.
Yeah, it seems like she's also trying to garner help outwardly. Like, we need you to vote against this bill. And everybody's like, we're not going against the emperor. You see what's going down. And even the senator from Gorman is like, why? What are they looking for there? Why are they here? Why are they building, a garrison here on the planet and an armory? What's the use? And she's like, we still don't know. The other thing I thought about is this kind of shows the ineptitude of both sides. The Gormans don't know what they're doing on their planet. And the Empire can't find the rebellion. And also, they're scrambling for money, like at the same time.
Everyone's all over the place.
They're trying to build a Death Star on layaway right now. They found a planet that has
Death Stars. Okay, we don't have the fuel yet to really get it going, but we're going to get there.
Fuel. We need this material to cover the lenses and the kyber crystals before we can focus the laser. But we don't have, so we need a reason basically to smash and grab this planet that has what we need, and we can't do it through legal means. So we got, it's weird, like, and coming on the heels of, what was the other show, the Star Wars show we were watching before with the kids?
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew. Nobody knows all this money is out there.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't know where the money is.
I mean, because he could have had the Death Star built like 20 times over if he just, went into the cash coffers that are over there waiting. Makes most sense to me. Then we see a town hall in Gorman. They done gave Cyril an invite to the town hall, and he comes in last minute to the town hall. This is another reason why I kind of broke my heart with Cyril. Because he's in his element here. He thinks he's Mr. Double Secret Agent Man now.
Yeah, he that guy.
He had his little hair slicked back in the mirror. He's peeping the dude looking at him from the balcony across the way, closes the window. My boy is practicing tradecraft. He puts a little piece of hair on the door hinge and the two screws so he can opened up the apartment. My boy thinks he's doing it. Like, in his mind, I am infiltrating this rebel scum here on the planet, and we about to bust this case wide open. And this time, in his eyes, like, I want to up and up. Like, no one's telling me not to do this. I'm told to go, and I'm getting to go. Then they have the talk here of the Tarkin massacre.
Yeah.
Which they have some monument that they're built. That's one of the reasons why they're offended is they're building this garrison right near this monument to the Tarkin massacre, where he landed the shuttle apparently.
That's messed up.
They just wouldn't move.
That was wild. I was like, that he did them dirty. I was like, yo, he just landed a ship on a bunch of people. We just thought we were going to stand there. We're going to have strength in numbers. I was like, he don't care.
Yeah. But this is all leading up to another Gorman massacre that's going to happen that's even worse.
Do you think we're going to see that in the show?
That's what they're leading up to. That's what this whole thing is about. They needed a reason to come there in force. And what Cyril is setting up, which we see in episode 6 later, is that when he calls them in, it's reason for them to use force there on Gorman because of someone getting killed. Then we flash to Willman, who is stuck with Saw Gerrera's crazy self in that rebel group. And he's tasked with, he's got this machine that can steal or siphon off fuel. And that way I guess you wouldn't need a gas station. You just go steal the gas.
Yeah, like pirates. Come on, they're pirates. They got to do it.
And so my boy's like, you got to teach my boy Pluty how to use the machine to siphon the fuel. And
Rodinium, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, and we find out later that's why we see him later in Rogue One, why he's got the breathing apparatus. Is because
keep breathing that rod.
Keep breathing that rod. And then at the end of the episode, we see Bix is on that dope.
I was like, I'm like, oh my God, she's using drugs. I'm like, this is real. I'm like, I've never seen this ever in a Star Wars show. We've never seen someone like do drugs. Like, I was like, oh snap.
We've seen somebody attempt to sell drugs though.
Selling is selling.
We've seen people do drugs too, because that's what spice is.
Oh, I didn't know we saw people do spice.
Real spice and the spice that they mine at Kessel, that the spiders, yeah, that's it's a hallucinogenic. It can give you clairvoyance. It's a bunch of different things. But I don't know what I don't think she's using that. But she's
Nah,
got
she on another drug, some
this
blue
little
stuff.
vial of blue stuff. She's putting the droplets in her mouth, and we see her just
nodding off. I was like, oh.
off. Yeah, that's crazy. So Bix is on that dope. And then we go into episode 5. I've got friends everywhere. And Clea is listening to her. She's at the shop now, the art shop on Coruscant, and she's listening to her arrangement of listening devices she has throughout wherever she's got them implanted at. And she learns that Davos has been apprised that one of his art pieces is a forgery. And so now he wants to have a whole inventory check to see if all of his things are authentic. And now when she tells Luthen, he's pissed because they've planted so many listening devices on a bunch of different things. If he finds that listening device, that'll lead back to them and put them at risk. So they argue back and forth over, whether that was the viable thing.
Yeah, Luthen was out of pocket for that. I was like, bro, chill out.
Yeah. And then we see Andor. He goes undercover to Gorman as a fashionista. Basically, he's a fashion designer.
Fashion designer, yeah.
So that was kind of funny. And I like how they juxtapose him going to Gorman. I think just as Cyril leaves Gorman to come back briefly to Coruscant. But before he gets there, we see that ISB sweeping Cyril's office. Gorman pulls the Gorman front. That's what they're calling the wannabe rebellion arm on Gorman. They end up pulling these files and find Cyril's files, which I think Dedra purposely leaked, because I think after all that stuff with season 1, that's like his criminal record's supposed to be sealed. Like no one should be able to get that. But I think she purposely leaks that to them because he looks like he would be a sympathizer to the cause, because he already has a grudge against the Empire. They got this dude fired. You got in trouble. You've been disgraced. And now, since we've been listening in, we see they don't tap your office for bugs, and they're, they don't trust you. They're not like us. You need to come and join us, basically. And I don't know if it works. They don't know that he's a mole, so they reach out to him. They've already, with the little spiders, they gave him the spider with the information on it to show him about the town hall meeting that he showed up to. And now that we're still on Gorman, now that Cassian Andor's away, Luthen goes and visits Bix at the safe house. I think he's genuinely checking on her, but also I think he's also kind of weighing his options, because he mentioned something later about that. Like, if she gets out of control, if she becomes a loose end, will you be able to do what you need to do, basically? And like, Andor wasn't happy about that. He does he peeps the vial, and she peeps the vial. Yeah. She says, "Give it." Like, I know you got my stuff, and like, you found my stash. Okay, it's cool and all. I appreciate the warning, but you need to get that up. Don't be taking my stuff. And then we go back to the other planet where Willman is. Actually, I think it's not Scarab. I forget where it is, where that planet is, but it's going to be one of the launch points later on. I think in the Force Awakens is where like the new rebellion takes place there, where Saw Gerrera and his crew are getting ready to go for this heist for the fuel. He's drilling Pluty. You peep how my boy was talking, Saw Gerrera?
Yeah,
This is Pluty. Pluty, come here, Pluty. But I think that's because his voice is messed up.
Yeah. I know. Oh no, I understood that, but I'm like, bro, he was rambling a lot. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what he's saying. I'm confused. What is going on? What's happening? It's like a rambling madman.
He was talking to the engine. He goes, "Is she happy?"
Hey, like, like, bro,
And he started sniffing it. He's like, I was like, oh, my boy is on one.
He's high too.
Yeah, he's high
all the time.
So Willman drills Pluty on how to work the machine. Both Saw and I noticed both Saw and Pluty ask Willman who taught him. He never answers. I think that's because it's his dad. His father's the one that got hanged on Phoenix. Is the one that taught him. So they think it's like some secret because he's hiding something from them. I think it just hurts him because it's his dad that taught him, and he just doesn't want to.
My dad.
I don't want to talk about that. So yeah, after this, then we go back and we're at the actual sweep on Gorman. Cyril puts on a show for the Gorman and passes one of the thumb drives to the after the office. Like after the sweep is over, I don't know if you noticed that, but he took a little thumb drive and gives it to Sam, the same dude that gave him the spider, to give them information.
Yeah, because there was a woman in his office that had that thumb drive, and she hit it.
Yeah. I also noticed that when the sweep was coming up, there was another woman in the office that hit a button beneath, and I think that warned the Gorman front that they were being swept so they could cut everything off. So they freaked out and started pulling the plug on everything. And then Cassian arrives on Gorman and learns about he's from his bellhop that was in his hotel room. Tells about the Gorman incident, and he learns a little bit, walks around. Cyril comes home. I like how they did that. How like they switched places. Like one goes to Coruscant, the other one goes to Gorman. Dedra had him followed. I think this is kind of a juxtaposition of Andor and Cyril. How Cyril thinks he's a spy. Andor is a spy. Cyril didn't notice that Dedra had him followed. He was like, I was careful. She was like, I know, I had you followed. And he's just like, and then this is one of the funniest things I think ever. And he's like, how much time do we have? She's like, we have an hour. He's like, just an hour, just an hour. Then she's like, turn off the lights. I'm like, bro, what is happening right now?
I was like, we know what's happening. They're in a relationship. We know what's happening.
I'm like, but should this be happening in Star Wars? It was hilarious to me though. I was crying, laughing. And we see also the Gorman front is this is what I'm saying, the juxtaposition between Andor and Cyril, who thinks he's a spy, where Andor is a spy. Andor notices tail when people were following him. The daughter of the main person of the Gorman front, I forgot what the character's name is, but he tells her, like, you don't know me. You didn't really vet me. You just out here in public talking to me. And if I was a mole right now, you'd be executed, and everybody around you would be hemmed up right now because you just you're not built for this. You're not playing this the smart way, you know. And then as they have that little talk, he kind of chastises her, but then he grabs her close, he like daps her up and goes, "Stop having me followed because it's making it more obvious that it's not doing what you think it's doing." So he knows even the people that are following him, like, y'all are all sloppy here. Y'all are not, y'all not being good rebels right now. If this is what you're trying to do. So Cyril visits his mom directly, and we get like this Star Wars version of The View or Good Morning America that she's watching. Their captain have their E entertainment moment as they're talking about the different senators and trying to take the politics out of it. Basically, they're trying to make it more like almost like an award thing, because you've seen the paparazzi robot that followed them with the lights at the party later on. I think in episode 6, they're more into that and trying to like almost as how we are today in the real world, where entertainment is used to kind of distract us in a way.
Yeah, pacifies.
What they're wearing, who's seeing who. Look at these politicians under the lights. Let's not really talk about what they're gathering to do. Let's just talk about this other stuff. Andor knows that they are, after hearing what they have to say, and then them telling him that they have an Imperial mole. He's like, really? Y'all got an Imperial mole. Y'all, you know that's what they do, right? You know they pass you false information so that you bite and keep going on this road that you think that you're laying down, this really path they're laying down for you. It's not going to end well. So he doesn't believe, and he goes back basically later on to tell Luthen that. Then we see a meeting between Cyril, Dedramiro, and Partagast, her superior. And my boy Cyril just lays out a plan. He's like, we should do this, this, and this. And then it looks like he like waits to get cussed out. He can be like, no. And he's surprised because Partagast's like, good, yes, do that. Do exactly that. And my boy is like, what? He walks out of the room and he tells Dedra, this is the best day of my life. Did I just ruin it?
It's on my nerves. I hated that. I hate that so much when he said, like, you're lame, bro. You're lame, bro. Is it okay if I can say that? Like, bro, shut up.
He knew it though on a certain level. He's like, did I ruin it now that I said it out loud?
Right. I'm like, lame.
Like, yeah, you are bugging. And this is where I said, I think he's going to be a patsy. I think he's going to go down. When shit goes wrong on Gorman, he's going to be one of the catalysts that the Imperials note as the reason partially why things, and all those things that he thinks that they put out in the news about him is going to be rebroadcast.
Oof.
So then we see Saw, Gerrera, and crew again. They've got some reptilian dog meat on the spit. They're having a barbecue out there.
Looks like a pig right there.
Yeah. And then Pluty starts asking too many questions. He wants to memorize one variation of this machine so he can know. But in order to do that, he's like, I need to know exactly which depot we're hitting so I can know which variation to memorize. And he asked him again. And finally, I think dude says something. Saw tells him, he gives him a location. And then, but if you see the look on his face after, like, he seemed happy about it, and you look at Saw again, he's like,
yep. Just looking down, like, damn.
Yeah.
That conversation was interesting because it seemed like even in that moment, and we're going to kind of get to that later, where Willman and you're starting to see if Saw is noticing, like, hey, do we keep Willman around? Like that was even like, y'all really about to throw my man's Willman out?
Well, no, like, I think because he's the most skilled in that thing. Like, you're trying to teach this dude something he already knows. So who's the more valuable person? The one that already knows how to do it, or the person that's trying to learn to do it, and we're about to go put this in execution in a matter of a day or two? That could possibly blow us all up.
Gotcha. Do you think that Saw had that intention?
I do. I think he suspected Pluty all along, and this was kind of to bring him the proof. Because later on he comes out on him. We go back to Coruscant where Luthen and Clea are arguing about the listening devices and whether it was, and that's when they decide they have to go to this party. Now they have to go, and then we go back briefly and we see Saw takes him out when he's asking Pluty how confident he is that he could do it, and then he asked him if he was expendable. And Willman, when he pulls out the blaster, Willman thinks he's about to shoot him.
Yeah, he had it on him. I was like, oh, I don't know when we're gonna make it.
Yeah, because I only need you to give us this information. Now that we got that information, you're a loose end, we'll take you out. But no, he ends up shooting Pluty in the forehead. And bam, right in the forehead. And then old boy finds a listening device on him.
Mm-hmm.
So like, he was informing on us the whole time. So we still gotta go. We see Andor back on Gorman, basically telling dude, y'all ain't about this life.
I felt so bad though.
You have no idea what you're doing, and basically anything you do is just going to be a spectacle, a message, a symbol of some kind. You're going to be roaches under boots is what's going to happen. So this, we might as well nip this in the bud right now. Woman ends up siphoning the fuel. We see them. They jumped out after he shoots the other spy. They jump to wherever they were going to go to the actual target to siphon the fuel.
That was cool.
And while he's siphoning the fuel, we see Saw basically recount how he was on some like prison camp.
Yep.
And everybody got infected because there was a fuel leak that made their skin itch. and crawl. And I think his sister might have died there too, as well. Is why he ends up being the face of that arm of the rebellion. And if you notice how he talks to the gas, he's talking like it's his sister.
Yeah, he
It's kind of
is.
sad.
He keeps saying it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And he basically tells Woman how he came to like the smell, how he just basically embraced what everybody else was running away from. He embraced it. He's addicted and relates to the effects to his sister, and recruits Woman, who decides to take his little mask off and give the fumes a try.
He said, oh. Then gets quiet and then starts low key. Look, I'm looking at his eyes. Oh, he's high. He's high.
He was getting lifted right there.
He's gone.
And in the last episode, we go to Steer Guard, which, again, I think, as I mentioned last week, is where the Pathfinder, or whatever that device they stole in season 1 that Andor was supposed to give to Luthen initially, this was where they got that device from. Cassian meets Luthen there and jumps on his cool little spaceship that he took out the other ship from season 1.
It's always nice to see that ship. I'm like, hey. Yeah. He said he was running late. I was like, come on, Andor, get it together, bro.
And he tells him, like, Gorman is a bust, dude. We can't use this. We should just move on to other. There are other places that'll be more valuable. Luthen basically still thinks Gorman will be valuable, even if it burns, because he's like, what good is this going to happen if it didn't all burn? I'm like,
that was wild. That was wild. I mean, it's very interesting to see how Luthen prioritized the end game of all of this, and he sees like these planets and these factions and people as dispensable, but they're serving a greater purpose at the same time. Like when he said that Gorman will burn the brightest because of their wealth and power, I was like, he's not wrong technically, because you got to think about like how other groups of people kind of see that. Like, will they be inspired by the Gorman because they stood up?
Yeah, or they be fearful because of it.
Exactly. We don't. That's the toss-up. That's the gamble. That is the gamble. Yeah. The insanity of it all.
So yeah, basically Andor is out on Gorman, so they send Vel, Mon Mothma's cousin, goes to Gorman instead. And then we see everyone on Coruscant checking in with the Senate. We see the Senate floor again and the different little hover pods. And we get this weird, like, Pledge of Allegiance type thing that goes on there. The loyalty.
Yeah. Pledge of Allegiance to the Empire. And she mad. Mon Mothma was mad the whole time. Like, oh, she's walking out. She's like, I'm not stable.
Yeah. Luthen, yeah. And then Bix tells Cassian about Luthen's visit. And then he crashes out, going directly to the shop to confront him, which is Dan. As paranoid as he was on Coruscant, why would you go to blow up the spot when both of y'all are spies? And
his girl was involved.
And Coruscant is one of the most heavily surveilled places in the galaxy. Like, there are eyes everywhere. Then Partagas talks about Dr. Gorst, which is the person that tortured Bix, and his program is now being expanded. And the other officer, who's now sitting on the access desk, gets super excited. And I like what Partagas tells him. He's like, you need to calibrate your enthusiasm. Basically, told him, slow down, stop being so happy. Act like you've been here before. It's just an assignment. Chill out. And then we go back to Gorman, where Val and Cinta reconnect briefly. They go to like this little coffee shop and they start chatting. She says, Cinta recounts that she had some accident she had to recover from. She didn't let her go. I'm wondering if it's Tay. Remember the senator that she drives off with at the end of episode 3? We don't see him no more. Remember, I told you, I think they took him out.
Oh.
I think they took him out because he was about to snitch.
See, that don't make sense. Now that makes me a little irritated because I'm kind of not. See, I didn't even realize how much time went by.
It's a year. It's a year later. So each group of 3 episodes represent a year in the timeline. And if you notice at the beginning of episode 1, And at the beginning of episode 4, we're reintroduced with that gong from Phoenix. Yeah, he hits the little, and then it'll say 1 year later. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I noticed in the first. I feel like I noticed in the first episode, but I think I missed it on the fourth that they did the 1 year later thing.
Yeah. So whatever she dropped Tay off, she dropped him off. It was a year ago that she dropped him off.
They should have showed that.
Yeah. So something might have happened. She had another accident, got injured, had to recover, didn't reach out to Vel, and I think Luthen at the time knew that they had become close and decided to kind of keep them apart for the most part. But it just, desperate times, desperate measures. They're two good operatives. We have to use them both now. And Andor saying he don't want to be on Gorman, so we're gonna have to send them. Then we see Partagas tells Dedra Cyril must never know what this is really about. After he then gave the green light on everything, like he can't know. And then we go into back to Gorman. Vel and Cinta brief the Gorman front on how things should go and that they should listen, and they don't. My boy Sam wants to go to the armory and strip the weapons. It's like, this ain't about that.
Oh, I'm gonna call him the YN. Yeah, him.
Who?
I'm gonna call Sam the YN.
Sam is the YN.
Yeah, he wanna do too much. So yeah.
Yeah, they try to and they're like, why should we listen to you? You're not Gorman. I said, no, but you've never done this. You ain't about that life. We've done this before, so it behoove you to listen to what we got to say and do things our way, and things will go well. There's a million ways this can go wrong, and there's a reason why we have things. There has to be a chain of command. There has to be strict communications, and we are on a strict timeline. Nobody should have blasters except for us two. And Sam didn't listen because, like you said, he's the YN of the crew. He decided he's gonna bring his own heat. And then we go back to Coruscant. We see Bix is high, and I'm wondering if this actually happened now. She looks out the window and she sees the flashing light. And the flashing light is usually a signal that they're supposed to go on a mission or Luthen wants to talk. And then again, we get to see the Oath Keeper, and I already said this part, but the Pledge of Allegiance is being said in the Senate chambers. And yeah, we see Mon Mothma is disgusted by the abundance part. She says the beginning, and then you see she closes her mouth, doesn't say nothing, and they close up of her gripping the podium. Then we flash later to the party that they're going to Davos's house. We see Mon Mothma and Perrin get out of their little limo, and we get to meet the new Bail Organa that used to be Jimmy Smits. They replaced him because I guess a conflict of scheduling.
Benjamin Bratt. I was like, hey. Yeah,
Benjamin Bratt. Davos's party has all the elites, including ISB officers, senators, and I think perhaps to get them out of. Do you think they were doing that to get them out of the way? Remember, at the same time, the Gorman operation is happening, but Partagas and Miro don't want everybody else in the ISB to know what they're doing on Gorman. So that would make
sense.
They all go to the party with Davos, and Krennic happens to be there too, and nobody else is in the office.
Everybody was there.
Yeah, they're there. They remove the listening device as Mon Mothma and Krennic are verbally sparring over historical context of what happened. Is this battle or that battle, and who's the real hero? And he's like, the victors have the right to write history because the losers lie and twist things, basically. And Mon Mothma's like, no, sometimes y'all just be doing that to make yourselves look good when that's not. You're dirty, and you're dirty, so you don't want everybody else knowing you're dirty, so you change history. They're going back and forth. Meanwhile, Clea's got Sunny physically blocking her as she tries to get this listening device off of the bottom of one of the art pieces. She cuts her hand in the process.
I was stressed.
Yeah,
I was stressed.
Yeah. So then they go back to Gorman as they're having this party, and we're jumping between whether or not they're going to get this thing successfully, or whether anybody else is going to notice in the party what's going on. The operation has jumped off, and at first it's going swimmingly. They got the little transport down. They're stealing stuff and loading it to another transport. They stop a passersby, an older woman that comes through like the little town square area. They stop her, and then old boy from the town hall. That kind of, I don't know. Was he supposed to be flipping them off, or he does that thing with his elbow?
Oh yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I remember that town hall. I was curious what that
It
meant
looked
too.
like an insult. Like it looked like an insulting. Like it was kind of like this. Like
Yeah,
but
I
it
was
wasn't
like,
that. But it was something along that lines. Like he was, flipping them the bird, and that's what he was telling the government basically. Well, that old dude shows up
a stocky
and
guy.
Sam tries to stop him from walking through because we got something going on right now. OG, why don't you just kick back? And he's like, get out my damn way. And they scuffle for a little bit. And of course, Sam pulls out the blaster, and
He said that better be a toy. He sounded like such an OG. He's like, it
yeah,
better be that toy.
you got to be playing. And then they get into a scuffle. He shoots, and this is the catalyst that the Empire needs. Cyril calls it in.
Being that detective, being the wannabe detective. Yeah. Shots fired. I'm like, God.
He calls it in. Cinta's dead. Vel shames Sam.
Shame.
Like, no, don't. You better not be crying. You did this to yourself, punk. So I'm wondering if he's going to be radicalized now in a highly negative way that's not going to be good, because he's going to be constantly trying to prove himself or make up for this mistake.
Yeah.
And they're still green. They're inexperienced still. And then at the end of the episode, we see Bix creep up on Dr. Gorst in his facility. He got his little
dessert pastry. Something coming to check in the office.
Yeah, he was chilling, and she hooks him up to his own machine, and she and Andor walk off after bombing. They shoot a couple people, and then they do the cinematic hit the button, the explosion in the background. You don't even look back; you just walk off slow. That stuff blows up in the background. They do that, and then that's the end of episode 6. So we're halfway through now, because tomorrow we get 3 new episodes, and they're probably at a time. I do think, we didn't get any closure to Tay, the Mon Mothma's old flame that was about to snitch on them for their involvement and where the money goes. I do still think that Tay is dead, and I think Sita killed him, and I think that may be part of the accident she had that left them apart for another year, and she never reached out to Vel. So we still got to see what happens there. How this is going to affect the Empire as a whole? Because remember, Dr. Gorst was supposed to be. He got promoted.
You say like they got to find somebody else to do the job. They'll find somebody.
Yeah, they had his mechanism was so
successful
that they said, we got to expand this program. We can't just have him torturing folks for you. He got to torture folks for all of us. So, but now Bix and Andor then took him out, so that's going to bring more heat down on them, because I'm sure they're going to look at security cams and try and find something. Because are they both hooded? I know Andor is.
Yes, they were hooded. They were hooded. Yeah, their identities were kept secret, but still.
But there's still some way, facial recognition, something will get them. Because Andor's already in the system. His face.
Yeah, sure.
Axis is going
to got a record.
The table when they find out he's here. He's on our planet. Damn, like
he is. He is, y'all. He's on there.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. We're leading up to this. That was the inciting incident for the Gorman massacre. We're now going to get to see. I don't know if it's going to be in these 3 episodes, but we need to see the Gorman massacre, the actual one, because that's leading up to, as we know, Rogue One. So I don't know if we're going to get any more cameos from like mainline characters. We've seen Krennic. I doubt we'll see Vader. I doubt it.
I wish. A dream would be nice, but we'll see. He'll be great, but we can't. I'm not gonna put all my eggs in that basket.
Or CGI Tarkin, because we saw him in Rogue One.
Oh my gosh, yeah! Rewatching that today, I was kind of really irritated about it, and that's another thing. But overall, I think these last 3 episodes were pretty cool. To see the kind of overlap between like all the different factions, like all our different factions and storylines. Like personally, I like the episode 5 where we got more of the transition or the overlap between like Andor going to Gorman. You have the Gorman front operating. You have the Imperials doing their thing, watching them or going after them in a way. So that stuff was really good, and it's just that's always one of the elements that I enjoy about the series is how everything is just so. It feels like a realist. Like I feel like we're in like a weird James Bond espionage. Like it's the themes and motifs of the show are always really strong.
Yeah.
And everything feels realistic. So like we have all these different factions operating and like what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So like that episode was really good, and I really enjoyed the rewatching just the Wilman situation with Saw Gerrera, and then just in general, that whole device was really cool that they got like to extract the oil of the fuel, and I was like that element is really dope. And then Saw's statement on the planet was very interesting about like you have to be insane. Like the revolution, being a revolutionary is insane. And I was like, oh, that's a bar there.
And he's going crazy. He knows he's going crazy.
Yeah, he's off his rocker. And so that element was really good. I think that Clea's my girl. Like she's about that action. She's like, we got to get it done. We got to complete the mission. Luthen was getting on my nerves when they were going back and forth because I'm like, bro, yeah, you signed off on her putting that in there, installing that, but y'all got to get it. So you got to do what y'all got to do. So like their dynamics been interesting. Clea is always great. She's like I said, even her scene where when they get to that gallery space and she's trying to twist that key and get that listening device off. I was like, her hands bleeding. And the guy's name is Lonnie, and her yelling at Lonnie, be like, "Put your hand, hold the thing." And I'm just like, bro, if she could smack you right now, she would. And I'm like,
you're trying to blow my cover right now.
It's like, shut up. And so like that was very tense. But that scene in that episode was very what I liked is that like you have the intensity of her trying to remove the listening device, and you have what's going on Gorman. And I'm like, and then Sam, YN, my bro. The stocky OG is about to knock you out, bro. Like you should just put that. You just wasting time. And of course, sent to get shot, which I was like, well, this is Andor. This is the predecessor. This is the prequel to Rogue One. Somebody's gonna die, and then that person is going to become a martyr or an example. And I'm like, yep, Bella's pissed.
The best things I think about this show are that it doesn't lean too heavily on its IP. Like the other elements of the show are so well done that, like I said, the first few episodes of Andor season 1 were the most un-Star Wars thing that I had ever seen because it didn't have any of the trappings. You didn't see anything. It could have been set anywhere within the first 3 episodes, and then it was like episode 4 where you started to see like the Imperials and their uniforms and stormtroopers. I was like, okay, this is where we're at. But prior to that, it could have been anywhere. And they continue that where they're still dropping Easter eggs, like when you go back to the art shop. There's a bunch of Easter eggs in there that they have littered throughout the art shop. And in conversations now, the Tarkin incident, the Gorman massacre, which has also been mentioned, Saw Gerrera mentions it. I forgot the planet starts with the A that Saw was actually a prisoner on, where he was all around the fumes. That I think that story was introduced in the Clone Wars, I believe, one of the animated series where we initially get to see Saw Gerrera.
I think the CGI version of the series. I think I remember.
Yeah.
So
it has those member berries for other things, but I don't think it leans super heavy on it like sometimes they do, where like every other frame there's a callback that you're like, oh wait,
call back.
Yeah. Remember this? Remember when this was good? Here you go. Keep that feeling. They're not doing too much of that. The action is good. The tension is good, and you're right. It is like it's a spy show basically. And now it's dual spy shows because we got multiple spies. We got spies on both sides, even though Cyril really isn't. But he thinks he is.
He's mall.
I'm wondering if he's
a mall cop of spies.
I'm wondering how he's going to react when they pull the rug from under him, because I think
that's going to be funny. That's going to be hilarious. I can't wait. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow is Tuesday, and they drop another 3 episodes. We'll be watching those, and then next week we will come back to talk episodes 7, 8, and 9. And I think we only have 3 more after that. Following
12. Yeah, 12 episodes total. So.
12 total. Thank you, Jordan, for taking the time out of your day to chop it up with me about these things. And we have 2. I think Monica PW was commenting, and I believe she's still there. Thank you for chiming in and spending a little time with us. We have another lurker. I don't know who it was because they didn't comment, but we appreciate you. There will be a link in the description of this episode to both my website and Jordan's website if you are interested in any of our creative endeavors. And we will see you all next time. I guess may the force be with you, because it's Revenge of the Fifth.
All right. Peace.
Peace.